What are we saying, people? Hope you're well. Welcome back to the show. We are going to talk a little bit about the weekend and we're going to talk a little bit about Wednesday night. Strange one, isn't it? That we're going to have some midweek games because of this World Cup. And I think it's going to be early that we start midweek. And that's not even talking about the Europa League yet. And of course, the Carabao Cup. Got Lee and Mark with me again. Great to see you boys back. Lee, how's your holiday going, bruv?
Yeah, all good, all good. Brilliant. Well, it's always nice when the Arsenal wins. So I've had a lovely birthday. Now, of course, my birthday last year was on the day we played Manchester City. Manchester City 5, Arsenal 0. I've had a better birthday this year, like, you know what I mean, because the Gunners won. Then I have to make it a little bit sweeter when the Arsenal win, like, you know, and made hard work with it, Dan, but we got the job done.
We did indeed, man. Mark, how you feeling, mate? How's your weekend been?
Yeah, no, it's been good, hasn't it? Done a bit of work on Saturday and got back in time for the game, etc. And had a couple of days off with the kids. It's been nice.
Lovely job.
You
Let's
all
talk Arsenal. Mate, I'm wicked, man. I've loved it. I'm knackered today because I spent the day with you and the kids, and they've run me wild. So I am absolutely shattered. I can't lie, mate. It's nice because I come round and Mark gets to sit up and have a beer, then leaves him with the uncle. Do you know what I mean? They come around me ragging to get me on the trampoline and everything. I'm thinking, oh, I mean, hell, I've got to go home and do a few podcasts tonight. What's happening? Anyway, it's all good, man. It's all good. When Arsenal winning, I'm smiling, and win we did. Didn't look likely at one stage, Lee Judges, that we were going to get 3 points, but we got over the line in the end. And I wanted to get just general, before we start breaking it down properly, your thoughts on that, because everybody is saying that we over celebrated. Not everybody, that's harsh. Richard Keys is saying that we over celebrated. Andy Gray was on there with him. Simon Jordan and Graham Souness had jumped on the bandwagon and also agreed that Arsenal haven't won anything yet and that they shouldn't be celebrating. Now, I want to get this correct because I got it wrong to start with. They were not suggesting that the fans were over celebrating. I thought that was the case. It was not that. It was the players and the coaching staff that they were questioning, not the fan base. Now, I thought it was everybody involved with Arsenal. So they were saying that Mikel Arteta, Gabriel and the players were all jumping for joy as if they won the league or the Champions League and they'd only beaten Fulham. So wanted to get your thoughts on that. And do you actually care what Richard Keys thinks? Because everyone else seems to. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, he does exist still, does he? Like, you know what I mean, out there in Dubai, like, you know what I mean? So, listen, got no time for it. At the end of the day, the one good thing about it is all of a sudden they're talking about Arsenal again, like, you know what I mean? And we're not liked, and that means that we're doing something, and that's what makes me happy. Listen, I remember us as fans getting criticised because we got a 2-2 draw at Chelsea with 10 men. And we've got a lot of stick for that. I then see Spurs doing exactly the same thing, getting a 2-2 draw with a last-minute equaliser, players going mad and all that. Nothing said. So what does that tell you? Just tells you that we're always going to be talked about. You know why? Because we're a massive football club. So we're going to have to accept that. Did I think anything wrong with it on Saturday? No. I don't care. I think it's good that we're all of a sudden celebrating and things like that. Like, it's got nothing to do with standards. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It's just been a club that's been in the doldrums for a little while. The fan base and the fans and the players and the club have been disconnected over the last few years. Now all of a sudden we've got that back, and like, you know, you've got like people trying to spoil it and all that. Like, you know, yes, I'm pretty sure that Arsenal celebrated it for a batsman, but I'm pretty sure that there was someone in that dressing room after the game turned around and said, right, okay, that's it now, we move on to the next game. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, you know, you've had a hard-fought win. And do you know what? Richard Keys, I think, has been in football long enough to know. Only Fulham kept saying that all the time. Unbeaten Fulham that have given Liverpool a bloody good test. You know what I mean? Like, and to be
disrespectful, wasn't it? Really disrespectful to Fulham.
Yeah, didn't even get any praise for that Fulham, by the way. It was all about Liverpool's poor performance and all that. Like, they've gone to Wolves and got a draw there. Probably should have won that game. Went and beat Brentford, by the way, that beat Man United 4-0 the week before. No one really, like, you know, I think they should be given a little bit more credit for that. And listen, they produced a difficult performance for us. It was a real tough game. But we got through in the end, and I think that there's a few concerns to look at if you want to be. We can go into, but ultimately that's the first time in a very, very long while that we've been a goal down in the second half and come back and won. I'm only
Wolves last year.
off the back of my head. Wolves was the last time we was a goal down and come back. We don't do it very often, so
No.
at the end of the day, I think you have to take the positives. When we went 1-0 down, I didn't think we was going to win the game. I'll be honest. I thought like the best we could get out of it was probably a draw. We didn't. Turned it around, and ultimately, I think we played well on the day. We had a couple of changes which didn't help. I didn't think we was as quick through the lines because Partey is a top class player at doing that. But ultimately, that was a tough game for us. I'm going to be really interested to see how they go against Tottenham on Saturday. I will gauge this performance and this win after I've seen what they do at Tottenham, because
Is that they got next, is it?
That's who they got next on Saturday. So I know I've obviously got a midweek game.
Got West Ham. They've got West Ham next. Tottenham have midweek,
Tottenham,
and then Fulham.
but then Fulham go to White Hart Lane on Saturday. So I'll gauge it a little bit more from there. But ultimately, listen, football's about winning. Getting the 3 points, and we've played a lot worse than that, and even a lot better and lost. So I'm just going to take the positives from it. 4 wins out of 4. And I don't know how you feel about it. I felt that there was pressure on that game because that was a game we was expected to win. I think that when we play Villa on Wednesday, it's another pressure game because we're expected to win. I think the pressure comes off slightly when we go to Man United. It's a different pressure, but the expectation, we've got to win this. So I think there was pressure on everybody. Like even us. Dan, we was turning around and saying, well, this to show us a little bit what Mikel's like, whatever. So there was pressure on that game in a different way. We come through it and got the 3 points, and people want to have a go and all that. Graham Souness and all that. The reason that they're having a little moan is because they've not been able to talk about the Arsenal for a very, very long while. But now, I honestly think that these people, Souness and all that, are a little bit worried about Arsenal. I'm not convinced yet that we're the real deal. But the signs are a lot better than what they were this time last year, let's be honest.
I want to ask a question, and before I come to Mark, do you think Richard Keys and Andy Gray watched the Tottenham-Chelsea game the other week? Because I saw Basuma air-fisting punching the sky for a 2-2 draw in front of the fans. I saw Harry Kane come out in an interview and say that he got a last-minute winner. We didn't. It was 2-2. Nothing was said about that. It's all have a go at Arsenal again, isn't it? Don't quite get it. Don't understand it.
Well, I understand it. I'll tell you why I understand it. Because we're a massive football club. And that's why. It makes news. You know what I mean? Like, they know what they're doing. They know they're going to get traction from what they're saying about that. Mm. I watched a Man City going crazy, like when they went when Haaland scored against Crystal Palace at home. Manchester City, how dare them playing Crystal Palace? I'm going mad.
Palace.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's a great point.
So at the end of it, like, I've got no problem with it. Like, what I mean? Listen, let's continue winding people up. Let's continue.
They got nothing to play. They normally laugh at us. They're normally laughing at us.
Let's get the old brass band on the next time we win. If we win against Villa, let's get the old brass band on, and you know what I mean. And Mikel getting the old being on the conductor and all that. Like, let's get it. You know what I mean. Whatever it does, it doesn't matter. That's Arsenal are getting back to where they were because people are criticising us. Long may it continue.
No, fair play to you, man. Mark, I want to come to you because I'm all for calling out people who over celebrate, man. I did it like the other week at Tottenham, and I thought, why are they running around as if they won the league? Because they got a last-minute point equaliser against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. I did the same with Arsenal fans. It's not just the other fans I called out. I called out Arsenal fans jumping in crowds and fans going nuts when Lacazette got a last-minute equaliser against Palace last year when we played absolutely dreadful. I couldn't get excited by that. So it's not just other fans, it's the fans. But I actually didn't think the fans, the coach and staff, the players were going particularly over the top at the weekend, if I'm honest. I've seen us do a lot worse and a lot more over the top for some wins that were a lot less bigger than this one. So I didn't really understand the timing from Richard Keys and some of the others that jumped on the bandwagon now, Simon Jordan, Graham Souness. I didn't quite get it, and I don't really care because I think it's funny. That's the only thing they can laugh at us at the moment is we're trying to over celebrate because we're top of the league. Long may it continue. I hope we go on and win the league. It'll be amazing if we do. I don't think we will, but we need to be realistic about where we are right now. And 4 wins, I think we should be happy and be allowed to celebrate. Now, I'll stress again, it wasn't the fans they were shouting at and saying they were over the top. It was Arteta, his coaching staff, and the players. But I don't know what your thoughts are about the whole thing, mate, but I didn't really see anything too extreme, if I'm honest with you. I thought it was a little bit bizarre to bring it up now.
Well, we know these two, don't we? All these people, they're in the, and they're in the clickbait world, aren't they? That they're in this media circus, and they're trying to make some headlines. It's only banter. Let's have it right. That's what he says. That's his motto. So don't get drawn in. Don't get wound up by Richard Keys. Yesterday's news is not big time. If you want to listen to proper football journalists, read the Times, Henry Winter, read, all these people. Laura Woods. I know she's slightly biased because she's a Gooner, but she's a top level sports broadcast journalist of the year 2 times running, and they speak sense. Football is about togetherness, camaraderie, enjoyment, and ultimately winning. And if you can't enjoy that, then what are you in the game for? If you don't enjoy watching teams, young teams, building a spirit and fighting back after going a goal down from let's have it right, a major mess up, a personal disaster for Gabriel at the back. It was horrendous. And I don't want to be seeing that again this year. Otherwise, there's only one man getting dropped from the team when Tommy Asu is fully fit, and it ain't going to be Saliba, or Ben White. But that's the pressure we've got now in this squad. He knows when the ball goes in, his place is up for grab now. You can't be doing things like that. And so there's the relief when he's praying on his knees to whatever God he believes in. At the end, it's irrelevant. He's got faith, and he was thanking him for turning it around. And that's all it is, isn't it? It's an entertainment business. It's a results-driven industry, and we won. So stick it. Top of the league.
Yeah, well put, man. Well put indeed. Listen, I'm going to talk a little bit about the game first and then get you both your thoughts on it. The reason that I can't lose my head about this one too much is because I was actually quite proud of the way that we did come back into it. And I know there was parts of the game which you'd look at and question, but the first thing I thought, Partey and Zinchenko out, oh dear, that was my first thought. What's happened? How long they out for? Do we know? Is it a tight hamstring like people are suggesting? Is it weeks out? We don't know. And when you see El Neni come in, obviously Tierney, you're not too bothered. Having said that, I didn't think Kieran Tierney was fit. He's still finding his feet, in my opinion, from what I could see. And with El Neni coming in, you always know he's going to do one thing, and that's a job. And sometimes the job's good enough. Sometimes it costs you. I think we missed Thomas Partey's spark. He gives us that little bit of extra that we all know that we need. And for me, it's clear and obvious still that we need to get another defensive midfielder in. That is going to be an upgrade on what we've already got as backup, because he doesn't fancy Lokonga as the first choice backup. So it is El Neni. And El Neni, I like him. He's a £7 million player. In the last 6 years, I said on my channel that he's probably given us £7 million plus more in the last 6 years. But 6 years with Xhaka and El Neni, and we're back to it 6 years later, it needs upgrading big time for me. That was my first opinion. When I looked at it, however, I don't think there was any part of the game where I thought, wow, we're going to lose because of that. I didn't think it was that. And I want to ask both of you the same question, because the way we're conceding goals at the moment doesn't frustrate me as much as perhaps it would if we were conceding goals in a different way. And what I mean by that is individual errors, sometimes you can iron them out. And that's what we're conceding goals with at the moment. Ramsdale come out, held his hands up and said at the Bournemouth game, I messed up for the James Maddison goal. Saliba scored an own goal for Leicester, and we saw another mistake from Gabriel. When you're seeing individual errors like that, I'd much rather that, so we can iron them out in the individual departments, than saying another set piece we've conceded. Oh, lost the battle in midfield again. Oh, the right back's not good enough and he's lost a duel again. That was what we were saying a few years ago when we had Mustafis and David Luiz's and Socrates and Bellerin's taking foul throws, getting red cards, giving away penalties. All that stuff has stopped now. We're starting
we've
to
got
see now individual errors. Go on, Mark.
we've got the players. You're right. What you're saying, that we've got the players now to play his system, haven't we?
Listen, I think there's definitely a part of that. And for me, I believe because it's young, you're going to see mistakes in the team. But also at the same time, the mistakes we're seeing, you can see they're really hurting the players. And that's where I want to start. Gabriel, I'll come to you on this one, Lee. He was gutted, mate. Like, I looked at it, I watched him, he was gutted. He put his head in his shirt, he knew he'd ballsed up. And like Mark says, he must know that, you start making mistakes, people are going to be on you. You've got positions in the team at the moment, which in that area of the team, there's strength in depth. What I loved about his performance was that he showed the resilience and bounced back and got us the winning goal. And I really like him. I can think of some mistakes he's made. Of course I can. I can think of the one against Man City. He got sent off. He did similar against Wolves, funny enough, when we come round last time and turned the lead round 2-1, where he gave the ball away. And he's done the same at the weekend. I really like him. I know he's made mistakes there, but in the 3 seasons that we've had him, I think he's been a fantastic centre-half. And I really liked that performance at the weekend for the pure fact that he turned that around and managed to become zero to hero type attitude. The same we've seen with Saliba against Leicester, own goal. Everybody said, don't worry about it. Let's keep going. And he's been fantastic since as well in the last few games. So there's something different about when we seem to make mistakes in this team at the moment. I think the fans have helped with that. I think we lifted everybody. None of the fan base at the Emirates I was there went, oh, that's it. We're losing. We're out. Like probably we would have, to be fair. We went 1-0 down a few seasons ago. Our heads might have gone and thought we've seen this all before. This is going to be hard to turn around. There seemed to be a belief in the ground that we could get 3 points. And I think we did that. I think another player that deserves a mention we'll come into a bit later is Martin Ødegaard, who I thought was superb in everything that he did. But there seems to be something a little bit differently about the mentality of this side that allowed us to kind of come back into this game is what I'm getting at. And I thought that was really important.
Yeah, I think there's a few things that have changed, and that's definitely one of them. And I agree with you. There is a definite sense of if someone makes a mistake, they're going to get out of it. With the players we've got, we've definitely improved on the players. I will say, which is a great point you make, that all 3 goals have come from mistakes. But ultimately, I do think that we are Aaron Ramsdale, for the possession that Fulham had on that day, done too much for my likings. You know what I mean? Like 1 minute to go in the game, and their player has a free shot. You know what I mean? Like from a set piece, a great save, by the way. I watched it again yesterday. You know what I mean? Like that could have been 2-2, and that would have been a real bet kicking the old goodies for us. It's a problem. Aaron Ramsdale was being too busy, particularly at home, making too many saves. He had to make a very, very good save against Leicester before we got into the lead. He's had to make a few good saves in Crystal Palace and whatever. Like, you know, we need to shore up on that defensive side and all that. But ultimately, I'm gonna, a couple of things and one big observation I made of it all. And he was getting a little bit of criticism for it from me as well. Was Martinelli on those corners? He made 2 or 3 of them, and they were straight at the goalkeeper and all that. Like, and then all of a sudden he done it again, and Leno messed up when we scored. I think that Arsenal targeted that. I think Arsenal thought, right, we're going to put it up there, and they got it right. And that's why I think that maybe the coaches celebrated a little bit there, because it was a big thing that happened there. Like,
Have a set piece.
Yeah, set piece going in there. They sort of said, like, because on the third one, or the second one, I was watching it with my mates and that, and I went, wow, another poor corner. But then he done it again, and we got the goal. And I thought, they'd planned that. There was a method into that, and that, they're fine margins between winning games and not. If he doesn't do that and perseveres with it, we don't win that game. And I have to say, I'm going to say it now. I think Mikel got it right on his substitution. I don't think he got it right with his team selection, but that's another thing. I think with Tierney, I just felt that he looked like he needs minutes. But in saying that, he got 60 odd minutes in that game. That doing well for the next game, But he learned a lesson. Didn't put Xhaka in the left back, did he? He put Saka in there,
That was so good to see. So good to see.
And then he put Eddie in up front, and I think that was a game changer. I think that Eddie you know, could have had an hat-trick if I'll be honest. But what he done was he give us a bit more directness. Jesus went out to the wide and done okay out there, and we got the job done. I think that it was an all-round performance from the players and also the coaching staff, and I think that's the key. And yeah, maybe like on another day we don't win that game. I don't know, but like certain things in that game, I think that we done which got us the result, and it'll be a difficult game come Wednesday, and we can't make those sort of mistakes. You know what I mean? Like what I want now from Arsenal going into the next game is a clean sheet at home. I think we need it now to just say like, you know, right, we're gonna be hard and hard to beat. We've got both clean sheets away from home. At home, we've been a little bit. I don't say sloppy, but a little bit more open. I don't want to see that in this game. But listen, I don't know how you two guys felt about this. I asked you the question. After watching the game, I was like, oh, it was a relief. Oh, you know, I didn't think we played that well. I agree with what you're saying about we're missing party. We El Neni, when the ball comes into those areas, he plays it back to the left back. I'm not criticising him when I say this, or he'll play it back to the centre half. When he goes into Thomas Partey, he does that little turn, and we're through that first line quickly. We weren't actually being able to do that. That's because Partey's top class. We know that. But I didn't think we was at our best. I thought, oh, it was, you know, scrappy all that. When you actually look at it and analyse it again and watch the game again, like I did. Well, I watched the highlights and you know what's happening. We actually played quite well. But you don't tend to believe that because you're missing chances and all that. We missed a few good chances. Jesus missed a couple of good chances like that normally buried. I don't think there's probably that much difference between that game and Leicester, if I'll be honest. But the game against Leicester, we took our chances. I felt that we didn't on that. And
we got off to a good start in all the games so far, ain't we? We got off to a real early start, early lead in every game. We didn't do that.
Yeah, so even though it wasn't a bad performance, and I've been seeing what a few people have commented and saying, oh, it's been a great performance and it was great. That listen, it wasn't. It may have been a good performance. It's not. It wasn't convincing because it was a scrappy 2-1 win. We just got over the line on a 2-1. But as far as convincing concerned, we played well. But I don't think it's a convincing win because a convincing win or a convincing performance is when you win 4-5-1. You know, so. But I do concur with what people are saying that we did play a lot better than what the scoreline suggests.
Yeah, Mark, Lee makes a good point there. You look on live score, it says Arsenal go 1-0 down. It says that we scrape a 2-1 win in the 86th minute. You look at that and go, oh, that's not very convincing. So I understand what Lee's saying there. I said this on AFTV and on my channel yesterday and with Robbie. I said, this is the first time I've looked at this Arsenal setup and thought we've got 3 players that are playing on their weaker foot on that side of the pitch. And I think it's showing at the moment, the way that we are so stable in terms of left footers and right footers. I don't think we've had this many left footed and right footers in history playing at the same time. We've got 5 left footed players and 5 right footed players. There's only Ødegaard, Saka and Martinelli that are playing on their weaker side. Ødegaard, to be fair, is not looking like he's suffering. Saka definitely gives us good balance on that right-hand side, albeit he's not playing his best at the moment. And Martinelli's good because he can cut in on that side. When we go back to the Invincible season, we had literally Edu and Ashley Cole that was left-footed. I can't think of anyone else that was. I think everybody else was right-footed. Unless I've forgotten, let me know in the chat.
Reyes.
Now, normally I'm not too... Reyes, there you go. That's another one.
Davil Sugar.
So when you look at it, I'm thinking that has definitely helped, in my opinion, because I know.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things Arteta said about the balance of the squad as soon as he came straight in, Dan. That's what the very first thing he done was sign Pablo Mari and put him on the left side of centre back because he said, "I'm not having a right-footed centre half playing left side of centre half." So he identified that straight from the get-go. You know, that's why he put Saka at left back very straight away in the early days. You know. It just that's something clear and obvious to all of us, you know, that you put people in their strongest positions and give them the best possible opportunity to shine, and he's done that from day one. I mean, Ødegaard, you mentioned Ødegaard. Does he not play through the middle? Like he can play with either foot, can't he? Through the middle. So, I mean, Saka's pretty good on his left foot. Look, we were peppering this goal at the weekend, and sometimes score lines and whatnot, they made it difficult for us. But we created chances. Touching on what Lee said, Martinelli, the first corner he takes, first half, he puts it on the roof of the net. The goalkeeper was in no man's land. He almost scored from the corner, and that set piece thing is a huge part of our makeup. We got a coach in, didn't like him, sacked him, got another one in. And it's working. I think we've scored 4 set pieces this season. The finer details, this manager is across it. To what, where you're playing with, what foot you're comfortable on, to who's in charge of should be doing what set pieces. He's across it all. And, this team is something we can really get behind him. His Saka out on that right-hand side. He's cutting in. He's getting stronger on his left foot. I think for a lad at 22, he had a couple of chances at the weekend where he chops back in and he's trying to find that finish with his left foot. It will come. It will come. He's still a young man finding his feet, in the world. He hasn't really got his man strength yet, let alone man speed and being able to bounce people off the ball. And once he gets to 26, 27, 28, he's going to be real frightening. So, it's a good point you make about the balance of the team. And that all credit has to go down to Arteta and Edu for identifying the players that he wanted to bring in. And that's what we say, why don't we go and get this guy? Why don't we go and get this guy? Well, because we're looking for a left winger and he's right-footed. Do you know what I mean? So don't just sign players because you can. Sign players because you want them and they fit your squad.
Yeah, fair play. I think that he is going to be looking at more players. I think he's made that clear. I think it's clear that we need a midfielder, and I think we definitely want a right winger. People are saying that, right back, centre forward is a position that we're still weak in, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Eddie is definitely the backup centre forward, and they seem happy with that. As a midfield, however, I do think we're weak, and it's not about numbers or lack of numbers in midfield. It never has been. It's about whether you believe they're good enough. So I expect to see some business. Having said that, it won't be on Wednesday, in time for Wednesday. It's going to be Man United that we're going to see new signings. And albeit Man United will have some new ones by then, but we're not going to talk about Man United. We're going to look to move on to Wednesday. Lee, do we need to rotate at all for you, seeing as we've got now what will be 3 games in 8 days? Is there anything you expect to see on Wednesday, or you're quite happy with the side?
No, I think that I think there would be listen, I think Mikel will probably sit down with the coaching staff, and there will be discussions about keeping the same team that finished the game against Fulham. But I think at the end of the day, Tierney would have benefited from those 60, 70 minutes. So I think that Tierney should come in and play there, and Jesus playing down the middle. I think that I don't think that we'll see Partey and Zinchenko until at least the Man United game. I don't think we'll see Partey for a few weeks, if I'll be honest. Same injury as before, or an aggravation from it. We know what's going on there. My biggest concern now is if we lose Xhaka, say gets injured or whatever against Villa, we go into the midfield. We go into Anfield with El Neni and Lokonga. And if we do go in with that midfield, then it's on Mikel and Edu's head, because we've seen what that does and what happens there, and they've not addressed that. I see West Ham today have just signed Paqueta for £51 million. Now, someone at Arsenal looking at, obviously, have we not gone in for him because the transfer fee was too big? Well, I'm disappointed if that's the case. When you look at if West Ham are prepared to pay that money. West Ham's midfield now, by the way, is Paqueta and got out of my head, who's the England player? Declan Rice. That's a top class midfield. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, one's worth 100 million, that's 150 million. It's better than what we've got at this moment in time. So we're going to have to improve. We're going to have to come in and get someone. And what my big worry is that we've not had no one in this. We know we needed a midfield player. We've seen Pasuma go out of Brighton. We've now seen Paqueta go out of it. They must have someone lined up. They surely have someone lined up. And I don't care what anybody says, as good as this transfer window is, good as the performances have been, and hopefully, it will continue on Wednesday. If we go in with 5 wins out of 5, I'll be obviously delighted with that. But if we don't sign a midfield player, I will be a little bit dejected then. I'll be a little bit down because I know that we're one injury away from being where we was. And surely the club is not going to let that happen. Surely it's not. And, I think if I got a midfield, I want 2 players. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be a little bit greedy. I do want that. But if we get a midfield player, I will be more than happy with the transfer window. And I mean that. But if we don't get a midfield player in that position, especially with Partey, he's got 3 games down and he's gone down again. You know what I mean? He is not going to last the season. We know he's going to miss whatever happens about him. I don't care what anybody says. If we play 50 games this season, he's going to miss 20 of them. Right? He's going to miss 20 games this season. Right? Why do I say that? Because it's happened last season. It's happened the season before. So nothing's going to change. Arsenal have to address that thing. If they do address it, I think Arsenal are in for a very, very good season. I can tell you what, we'll be coming on podcasts with a lot more happiness and a lot more wins under our belt than we've ever done before.
Yeah, I think it's vital that we replace Thomas Partey. And when I've seen what I've seen already, it's not looking like he's going to be reliable yet again. Kieran Tierney, we all know, but it's been addressed. Zinchenko's come in last season,
exactly.
In my opinion. The reason we can get top 4, or one of them at least, was because of our injuries, as everyone said, and they didn't replace him. And Thomas Partey has still not been replaced. So if we do not replace him and he does miss 20 to 25 games and we're missing out in midfield, I'm sorry, on their heads be it. They've got to do something about this now. The window's still open. I think they will. I don't know who's coming in, but I think they will get that position sorted. And I do fancy us to get a couple more in the coming days. Mark, thoughts on Aston Villa, mate? Obviously, Wednesday night, moving ahead, they're in a lot of trouble, bro. Steven Gerrard under pressure. Would you do anything? Ask the same question in relation to our squad to try and rest a few, rotate a few, or are you quite happy that we'll have enough to go in with this same side against Villa and, of course, Man United at Old Trafford?
Yeah, I think it'll be largely the same team, won't it? Why break up? You're certainly not going to break up the back 5, are you? And then whoever's fit, Xhaka almost certainly will start in front. And then the question will remain about Partey. Whether it's El Nini, he's done nothing wrong really to get dropped, didn't make any errors. I don't know what you say, it's not good enough. But that sort of back 7, if you like, they're kind of picking themselves, aren't they? And then Odegaard, he's not getting dropped. Jesus, he's not getting dropped. Saka, he's not getting dropped. So, it's I say, like I said last week, all we need is someone to do the team talk. But it's a big week, which is the notes I've made. There's 6 points up for grabs. And the transfer window sort of closes. And I think we've got 2 players left at this football club that we're looking to get out. And it's the remainder of the old guard, really, for me, that's sort of dead to the squad in Bellerin and Ainsley Maitland-Niles. So, Villa, Edu's got to be working away. The team have got to be working away, trying to convince these last possible deals that, Bellerin and Ainsley Maitland-Niles haven't got a place in the team or squad, and anybody who's looking and thinking about coming in, that they should really get on board and a part of this team. We're hearing reports, aren't we, on the news today that Leicester have started to move in the market for a midfielder, the lad Harit, who was out of Marseille last year. They're desperate, Stuttgart, to get him off the books. 26, 27-year-old, I think he could be the replacement for Tielemans. So, I don't think there's any smoke without fire. So this Tielemans thing is still potential. So, but we know these things are usually a massive domino. And I think Leicester will need bodies before there are any more sanctions of any more deals, any more players leaving the club. They certainly don't need the money after getting a ridiculous amount of money for Fofana off Chelsea. So, but that's where I see our business for the rest of the week. But regards to the team and going after Aston Villa, yeah, it seems like a good time, but beware the wounded animal. For me, they're not really creating Aston Villa. You know, they're getting there's no coincidence this season. What we're doing well collectively is working hard. We're top of the run charts, and most of the team in the top 4, 5, 6 in the league are also the top 4, 5, 6 in the running charts. And we're running with purpose. But if you look at the teams at the bottom, your Aston Villas, they're not putting the shifts in. And the same can be said for the rest of the lot down there. So we're working hard. We're working together as a unity. And something's a little disjointed at Villa. Now, I've got a theory that Gerrard's made a bit of a faux pas. And by that, I mean, he's identified some players that he don't think's good enough at the football club. Like Allah, it reminds me of Tim Sherwood when he took over at Tottenham. And the first thing he done was kind of ostracise and isolate Santos, who, unbeknownst to him, was a massive character and well-liked member of that squad, who Jose Mourinho identified very soon when he came in. And he lost the dressing room. And Gerrard has come in and sort of made this decision this summer that Tyrone Mings is not the club captain and not good enough to play for his club. Well, that's okay until your star summer signing and everything you've pinned your season on gets injured with an ACL in the second game and rips the heart out of your plans. So what does Gerrard then have to do? Turn round to the lad who's took the armband off and say, oh, can you lead my team through the rest of this season? But you know that you do know that when Matey's back, you're gone again. Do you know what I mean? So I think asking someone who you've kind of turned your back on, and there's a few other lads in that squad that he's sort of done these things to. You know, he's put all his eggs in one basket. Oh, the prodigal son, Coutinho, one of my old pals from Liverpool. He's coming. Great. You know what I mean? Got Buendia, and then 2 weeks later found out they could get Coutinho, and they've signed them both. Well, they can't play on the same team. They can't play together. Aston Villa haven't got that luxury. So what's he doing? One of them's on the bench. Bad. It's bad squad atmosphere. And Steven Gerrard, I think they lose to us on Wednesday night, and I think they get pummeled by Man City, and then they go to Leicester. They could be in a world of trouble. So I think we've got them covered. They like to play down the wings. He doesn't even know his best 11, Gerrard. He doesn't even know his best formation. 1 week he's 4-3-3. The next minute it's 4-4-2 narrow, which you could call 4-1-2-1, whatever. He's all over the place, and no one's really firing for him. They're not scoring goals. And I don't see Danny Ings. I highlighted this. Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins, both of them under 5'10". I don't see how they're going to cause our centre halves problem. Really, they're not mobile enough. I know Watkins is pacey, but our boys are no slouches. So, yeah, I don't see us getting any problems here. I see more misery for Aston Villa and Steven Gerrard, and I see a good win.
And Mark makes a great point there, Dan. He makes a great point about Tyrone Mings, because I think that decision is going to come back and bite Steven Gerrard, because I think that whether you like Tyrone Mings or not, I think he's very, very popular at the club, very popular in the dressing room. And to do what he done there...
He's a good speaker, isn't he, Lee? He's a good speaker.
Yeah, I agree with what Graham Souness was saying. If I was a player at a club and I was captain and the manager come in and said, right, I'm taking it away from you, I think, you know, that's a real kick in the old teeth. And I think... Can I say that more? I don't think it's about the captaincy. I think it more as that he doesn't rate him as a centre half. He brought in Callum Chambers at the end of last transfer window as well. So I think he's like trying to replace him or whatever, and now he's had to backtrack a little bit. So that hasn't gone well for him. At the moment, the Coutinho deal started off, didn't he, really well. It's not really worked really well for him and all that. And I do think that Steven Gerrard's going to come under some sort of pressure if he doesn't get a result in the next two, and that's against us and Manchester City, because as you say, they've lost to Bournemouth have lost to Manchester City 4-0, Arsenal 3-0, 9-0 to Liverpool, and they've beaten Aston Villa. That the other teams have smashed Bournemouth, and Gerrard went there and got beaten. Not convincingly, but 2-0. Didn't even score against them. They've been conceding, got more goals than anything. So I think there's underlying problems there. Now, how do you end those underlying problems? And someone said this on a show earlier. I said this was when you're down desperate like Everton were. Do you remember along come Arsenal? That's what can't happen no more, guys. That cannot happen. Look, Southampton haven't won for 15 games. Along come Arsenal. When Arsenal come along to Aston Villa now, who are a little bit in the mud, don't give them a lifeline. Smash them. Be ruthless. Do the job, because I tell you what, on Saturday Manchester City won't be toying with them. They'll be ruthless and smash them. So we've got to do the same. So I don't want us being like a lifeline for struggling teams no more. That happened too many occasions for me last season. You know what I mean? Manchester United weren't playing that well when we went to Old Trafford. They got a result against us. Everton hadn't won for so long. We've got to really nail this game, make sure that it doesn't happen. But I do think they've got a few little undercurrent problems at Villa, and I'm going to say it now. I can't see Gerrard surviving it. I really don't. I think that he's I like Steven Gerrard. I think he was a fantastic footballer. Done a great job at Rangers, by the way. But he's struggling. I think that they've on the back of last season, they was losing games left, right, and centre. They've not really improved it on that much. So I'll be very disappointed if Arsenal don't win this game. Very disappointed.
They always said, didn't they, that Gerrard and Lampard couldn't play in the same midfield together. Well, they probably will be on a five-a-side team on a beach in Dubai come January when they're both fired.
Do you know what? It's funny because I said this on my channel the other day when I had the lads on from their respective clubs. Frank Lampard come from Derby. Yeah, got missed out, to be fair, but did a good job, people were saying. Went to Chelsea, got me in the top four with a transfer embargo. Gerrard did well, as Lee said, at Rangers. Patrick Vieira wasn't really effective at New York City, and he was poor at Nice and got sacked. Yet he's the one who's come in and impressed. So it surprises me because I liked all three of them, wonderful footballers. But I don't really rate Gerrard or Lampard as a manager. From what I've seen, Gerrard should be winning games. That is not a shocking side. I don't rate Tyrone Mings, by the way, and I don't think it's bad if he's come out and done that, because if you don't rate him, you don't rate him. That's the way it is sometimes. But when you look at the other players, they ain't shocking. I mean, they've got our old goalkeeper who looks half decent. They've got decent fullbacks, Matty Cash, Luca Dean. Cons has been a really good centre-half for them. I think they've got players that are decent in the middle. Boubacar Kamara's come in now as well to add to the Diego Carlos signing. You've got John McGinn, who's already there and been solid. You've got Coutinho, you've got Buendia, you've got Ollie Watkins, you've got Danny Ings. I look at them and think, Gerrard's not going to get anything with these lot. Look at him. He can't win for toffee with that lot. They're useless. So I'm not too impressed, to be honest, from what I've seen of Steven Gerrard. Having said that, I do think that this will be a tough game. And the reason I say it'll be a tough game is because they have to win. They have to do something sooner or later. And, it ain't going to be come to us. Let's just get past these and then look forward to Old Trafford. We need to take 3 points. We need to go to war with them. And they're going to want to come and impress. And Steven Gerrard knows that everyone's telling him he's under pressure. So I'm expecting a tough game. Before we come to a close with Super Chats, I want to get some predictions from you. I am confident that we're going to win this, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 Arsenal win. But I don't think it's going to be this, convincing 3-4s, 5s. I can't see that happening because they're going to come into battle with us, Villa. So I'm going to go 2-0 to the Arsenal, and hopefully, have the faith will keep the clean sheet this time. What are you going for, judges?
I'm with you, Dan, saying 2-0. I don't think this is going to. I think it's going to be a tough game for us. I don't see it being convincing. I think that Villa are going to sit in a little bit like Fulham did. and try and hit us on the break, because they have got players, as you quite rightly said, that can affect the game and cause us problems. Coutinho being one, certainly Ollie Watkins on the counter attack. They've got good fullbacks. Matty Cash, I'm really impressed with him. So I think it's going to be a real difficult game for us, but I do think that we'll have enough. If we don't make any silly mistakes at the back, we've got enough firepower in different areas of the field to be able to do it. You know, we've done that on the game against Fulham without even bringing on Smith Rowe. You know what I mean? So we've got a little bit of ammunition on the bench. That's something different. So, but I feel it'll be a tough game. But I've gone 2-0 as well.
Fair enough, mate. Mark, what do you reckon? Score prediction for Aston Villa Arsenal, mate?
I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet, although they are struggling to score. They're having pop shots from outside the box, and they're putting in one of the highest percentages of crosses in the league. But they haven't really got the height in the team to do that. And I think they would have been studying all week, like, why do we keep doing this? It's not going to work. So they're going to take a different approach. And I think they'll score purely because we ain't got our best back five out. You know, he's doing a really good job, Ben White, right back, and I think he's really comfortable there. But it's not settled. You know what I mean? And Tierney and Zinchenko are not fit, so it's not our settled, fit, unified back five at the minute. And so for that reason, I think they score. But I do fancy a possible Jesus hat trick, 3-1.
Nice. I hope you're right, mate. I really do hope you're right. We're going to finish on a few super chats before we do come to a close. The first one is David. He's gone to the shop again, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's gone to the shop.
Hey,
here he is. It's Chaitanya. It says, credit to Arteta for switching wings and bringing in Eddie. Played well. But is he the best off the bench? Need quality. This won't work versus the top teams. Listen, Eddie is Eddie. You know, he's come on. He's shown the intensity. He does give energy. He don't give goals. So that's the problem with it. You don't look at Eddie and go, that's a guaranteed goal. And when he started to get these goals towards the back end of last season, I think what it did was it just made everybody believe that every time he comes off the bench now, he's going to score. And I don't know that that's the case. Now, I don't want to be too harsh on the lad, but I do feel there's better out there than Eddie and Nketiah. And, you know, a lot of people will say that's harsh. Maybe it is harsh. I just think it's factually. I would rather be bringing on an Ivan Toney or even a Mitrovic than I would an Eddie Nketiah, personally. That's just the way I see it. But I don't think we're going to get another centre forward. I think Eddie's going to be the guy. And I thought he did come and give as good as he got at the weekend. So fair play to Eddie. Lee, anything on that quick before we move on?
No, I agree with you. I think he done well when he came on Saturday. But, you know, the criticism is he could have scored 2 or 3 goals. I think, you know.
Exactly.
You know, he hasn't got that little bit of quality. But I hopefully, you know, I do see a big improvement in Eddie from this time now to last season. You know what I mean? There is a big improvement. It's not easy coming through the ranks as a striker at Arsenal. It's a tough ask. You know what I mean? And you have a look at, there's not that many players that have done it. But he's got to take those chances. And then if he comes on that game and scores the goal when the pressure's on, that it's all right coming on when there's 20 minutes to go and he's 3-0 up and scoring. You know what I mean? The pressure was on for him to come and do the job on, you know, a little bit like Pepe done the other time against Wolves. He's got to come on and take his chances and score goals. I thought he done very, very well, though. So he was an important part of us winning that game. But I do agree that, you know, is he going to come on when we're struggling against one of the top teams and score? I don't know. But listen, you know, he is a squad player, and that's what players like that are, you know. And, you know, I don't think you're going to get even like Tony or someone like that to come on and be a bit part player. That's the problem that Arsenal got. But
we're not going to get one. We're not going to get a striker. I'm just giving examples.
You don't.
So he's going to have to come on, and he's going to play all like the Europa League games. He's going to play. We've got some tough games in the Europa League, by the way. It's not going to be easy, but that's where he's got to earn his common. That's where. Do you don't think that Ivan Toney would make the switch to Arsenal and be
fully aware that he was going to play second fiddle to Jesus and probably get a few starts in the Europa League Cups and stuff. You don't think Ivan Toney would bite Mikel Arteta's hand off for that move?
I don't
think he'd rather stay at Brentford?
I don't think that Arsenal would be prepared to pay 50 odd million for that sort of back striker. It's very, very difficult. That's why Tottenham have struggled replacing Harry Kane, because you've got someone that's, you know, a top class player, and you go, right, in the team meet, you know, when you're going to meet him, go, right, what are you going to, where are you going to play him, or are you going to be a backup to Harry Kane? I'd rather not add that. I'd rather stay where I'm in. So
that's why Eddie will stay. That's why we've got Eddie. We have got Eddie. I'm going to rattle through these last two very quickly. We got what do we do if we don't buy any more players? We on their heads be it, basically. If we don't buy any more players, on their heads be it.
This next week, but will cost us where we want to be and whatnot. If we don't bring a midfield player in, or I honestly don't think we'll get top four.
I think that's a fair comment. And lastly, how many years have we said we need one or two good players? We've been away from the success under Arsene Wenger. The club is failing to learn. Get the 2 extra signings in and I'll start believing. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. And if we got that in, we would say we'd learn from our mistakes. You know, and that's a good way to end it. Go on, Mark.
It always depends. It all depends. And like I said a minute ago, it all depends. It's a massive week. There's 2 players at the club. Now, I wouldn't be too adverse. I don't know what you guys feel about Ainsley, Maitland-Niles staying in this squad. Sitting, you know, being a sort of a backup. You know, if we can't get anyone better. But it's all a merry-go-round. So the dependency is that Bellerin and Ainsley Maitland-Niles go out. Maybe Ainsley Maitland-Niles could be a huge make weight in the Leicester deal, you know what I mean, for Tielemans or something like that. Bellerin, we know, wants to go back to Spain, but that's all financial. We don't want to write off his contract, but it's money. You know, we've got to do a bit of wheeler dealing, and like I say, it's a domino effect. So it's a big week. A lot going to happen in these next 7 days. It's an exciting week. So yeah, it could be a really, really, really good week, and let's hope it is.
Yeah, let's hope it is indeed. Guys, thank you all for listening. It's been a good stream and I've enjoyed it, and it's always good to talk Arsenal when we're winning. So thank you all for joining us. If you can do us a favour before you do leave us, if you can smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and come and join me on mine. I'm going to be on there now talking about the weekend's games on Football's 12-Man podcast. If you can come and join us now, that'll be 10 o'clock live, and come over and join us. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Lee, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your holiday, sir.
No worries.
Mark, thank you, mate, as always, coming back on. We will see you both very, very soon, as we will see you all shortly. Take it easy, up the Arsenal, and let's get another 3 points. Take care, guys.